All right, guys, welcome to Z's Comics Reviews, episode 8, volume 2. If you're just joining us on our podcast, this is technically episode 2, but we're going to start fixing that pretty soon by doing audio ripping from our earlier shows on YouTube. Oh, man, excuse me.
Episode 1 of comics.
Yes, technically episode 1 of comics. Z's Comics Reviews, episode volume 2, all that stuff. We got quite a bit to review today. I mean, we're back up to 10. Okay, we're trying to get y'all guys some information so that way or at least you get a good idea of what you should pick up next. All right, at least in our opinion. We're going to start off with, like always, we're going to start off going from our weakest one to the strongest, starting with Godzilla Kingdom of Monsters #1. Now, I friggin' love Godzilla. Okay, if you've been with us from the beginning, I friggin' love Godzilla. I'm giving this straight up a 3 out of 5. Godzilla Kingdom of Monsters #1 on sale this past Wednesday, and the reason that I'm giving it a 3 out of 5 is because it promises nothing but kaiju fun, and it straight up delivers nothing but kaiju fun. Okay, there's almost minimal amounts of people involved, which is what you want from a good kaiju story. Problem is, it doesn't really do anything new. You know what I mean? It doesn't go further. The artwork, clean. All right, like we were talking about this before. The artwork is crisp. Kind of reminds me of like Saturday morning cartoons kind of feel. And so it does give you that little nostalgia factor in there. In this story, it's they've never encountered Godzilla before. This is, I believe, the start to a new series.
I believe so too. Yes, especially if that happens in there.
Yeah,
it's like they're asking questions, wondering what this is, and all that. They give the guy his atomic breath. Lots of beginning stuff happens.
Oh yeah, so definitely. Also in over the summer. Into the fall, we're going to be getting new Godzilla stories, new Godzilla storylines. So we'll be set in a new era called the I want to say the Kisei era is what they're calling it. I got to look it up because I barely saw the announcement this morning, but we'll go ahead and look it up later. But yeah, definitely recommend picking up Godzilla Kingdom of Monsters. Like we said, give it a 3 out of 5.
HD looking art.
Oh yeah, like if you're like, I know the people on the podcast can't really see right now, but head over to our YouTube and you can see the cover. You can't even see the cover; it's very shiny, and we love shiny things. All right, and
what do you expect from a Alex Ross cover,
dude? Alex Ross
in the face.
It does,
so
and it's
ostentatious.
It's ostentatious is like a bad thing.
It's not necessarily bad. It's just it says in your face in a bad way, but I'm not meaning it. I'm trying to give it a new twist, like how bad, bad doesn't mean bad. It's like, oh bro, that's bad. Like, okay,
I got you.
I'm trying to give it that twist.
All right. Moving on, we got Miles Morales Spider-Man #30. The reason why we're jumping in at number 30 is because it is part 2 to the Pools of Blood crossover with the Deadpool series.
Yes.
Okay, so once again, Miles Morales Spider-Man #30. We start off with basically right where Deadpool number 11 left off, where the Pools are just trying to patch up Shift, the sort of brother to Miles. He's basically like a version of Kang or Ben Reilly for Miles, right?
For the most part.
Except not such a douche. So the artwork is just good. And it gives you like a little rundown of what's been happening in the Miles comics for the last arc, where apparently Anansi has straight up anointed Miles as his herald or champion or whatever you want to call it.
He says both.
He says both, right? And so it just gives you a nice little rundown, so that way you're not completely lost in the new storyline. So that's nice because we haven't really been reading it. We've just been skimming through it here. Yeah. So then it flashes forward to the altercation, and we're not going to get into specifics because you know how we feel about spoilers here, but it does get to a point where Ellie and Miles do have like a really really deep heart to heart,
Yes.
and you kind of get like a emotional hit that you don't expect for a Deadpool comic to give you, even if it is a crossover with a Spider-Man comic. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So I like that a lot. I gave this one a 4 out of 5. No, I gave this one a 3 out of 5. 3 out of 5.
I'm sticking with 3 out of 5 for this one too. It's very nice. But
it didn't really like. It was good.
Mhm.
It's very enjoyable. I do recommend reading it. I was about to say watching it, but at the same time, it didn't really. Nothing really huge happened in here. Nothing like, yeah, you had the emotional tug when Ellie went off on on Miles for doing the thing, but aside from that,
if you're like an action comics person, but okay, so if you're like an actiony comic person where you like to show some action, especially in storylines, this one not necessarily that. It takes a little. There is some action in there, but this one does kind of drive home a little bit more like storytelling, giving you a little bit more in story. So, and that's kind of what, and like, it's not a bad thing. Like, we do love story. We're not just giving it like, 3 out of 5 just because it's a story, more of a story issue. For me, it really just kind of like, there are parts where, okay, we're going to get an action thing. No, let's go back. Let's turn back. Let's go back, flashback. We come back. You're in the action still, but only for like 2-3 panels, and then it's done. And it's like, we really couldn't have just done the 2-3 panels before we went back. So that's kind of why. That's kind of why it's getting a 3. A 3.
With this one, also, Deadpool can be too much Deadpool sometimes, and in this one, too much Deadpool. Okay, too much stereotypical Deadpool.
Yeah.
Okay, like there's a lot of great comics where Deadpool is not his stereotypical Deadpool, right? Where he actually, advances the story and he's not just, slapstick fart humor kind of thing.
Yes.
But they kind of play up that in here in favor of giving Ellie the emotional pieces. You know what I mean?
And it kind of like.
And
so I'm not gonna use this example as like. I know it's kind of bad. I still loved the movie, like Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, but it reminds me a lot of how, like, they just don't let the moment settle. Like, when Yondu passed, they have the funeral, have the great words, and then they, like, and it's like, okay, like, let's let this moment settle, let it simmer. We're all feeling. I was feeling after that eulogy. But then you have Rocket or something translate something that Groot said, and he's like, he just said like, he called me Twig or whatever, and you're like, okay guys, I get it, that was a funny little, that was a joke, but like, let the moment simmer. And that's kind of like what you feel here, where it's like, okay bro, we love you Deadpool, we love your Deadpoolness,
just sometimes pull it back, sometimes pull it back,
taking a bit away from the story. So
all right, so Miles Morales Spider-Man number 30. Part 2 to Pools of Blood. We gave it a 3 out of 5. We definitely still recommend it. Okay,
the storyline is still nice.
Yes,
love it.
We would not tell you guys to pick up something that we don't like recommend or that we don't like. And every now and then we will review something that we don't like.
And it is kind of like we probably shouldn't.
Yeah, we gotta start. Which kind
of happened today a little bit. Not that it's bad. It's just we did read. X-Men, the Doom, and the Doom line.
You know what? Now that I think about it, I'd give it a 2 out of 5. The Weapon X-Men number 1, the One World Under Doom tie-in.
Because like it was pretty good. It was entertaining. I liked Deadpool's spots in that one. But for me, it was like
everything was too fast. It doesn't give you the anchor that man, I'm invested in this, and then so like. Now that I think about it, I do give it a 2 out of 5.
Yeah. So it does happen where we do think about, hey, let's read this comic and review it, but especially when we have like 10 that we're reviewing right now, it just gets to that point where we are like,
well, technically we still did 11.
Yeah, technically 11. But it's like, yes, it does happen times where we're like, maybe not that one. That one, kind of a waste.
All right, guys, and now we got Stay Awake number 1 from Afterlight Comics.
Nightmare on Elm Street ripoff.
You know what? I don't think it is. I don't think it is. All right. So what you and Derek were saying yesterday, I didn't see in here. What I saw was one of those psychological thrillers that at the end may be also a supernatural thriller. You know what I mean? So I love the old school paper stock feel of the interior pages. I love the artwork in there that brings a callback to like detective noir stuff back in the 80s and 90s. I love the design of the comic. I'm going to tell you guys straight out. I gave this one a 4 out of 5. Just be upfront with y'all. And the dialogue is good. It's crisp. It keeps you engaged. And honestly, it is somewhat reminiscent of Alan Moore. Somewhat. I'm not going to say it is, oh my gosh, whoever wrote this is the next Alan Moore. I'm not saying that. I am saying that the dialogue, the writing is somewhat reminiscent of him. And I feel his influence in here through the dialogue, through the panel planning, all that stuff. It's really good. It's really dreary. And at times it does get pretty dark. And then towards the end, it does get really creepy.
Yes.
All right. And
the art kind of changes with it.
Yes.
Too. When the creepy moments start happening, it's not even a bad change either. Like we've had comics where we are like, oh, when the creepiness starts happening, the art changes and it changes for the bad. No, the art changes and it changes just well enough and just spooky enough to where it's like, oh, it adds that little extra, little extra zip.
The zip, the little pizzazz.
All right. Zip. And I'm not even a big fan of these kind of stories. Like, I'm not gonna lie, I read it last night. I read most of these last night because I had work this morning. So I had worked like a mid-shift today. And I read this, got home about like 8 o'clock, and I was like, before I go to sleep, I'm going to turn on Modern Family because my imagination is too much. It messes with me too much. I was like, I'm going to turn on Modern Family, get some laughs in there, read something else, continue reading this series.
You need that palate cleanser for the brain.
And then before bed, read a bit of the book that I've been reading in the new book series I've been reading, just so I could get that out. Especially, it didn't really help either with the fact that before this, I got to the 12th Doctor's Christmas episode, and you got the dream crabs where they're just like, hey, if you thinking about them, they're gonna find you, and it's like I can't. So had that in my head, where I was like, I can't even think about this because otherwise it's gonna come.
It was like a perfect storm of nightmare fuel for you, huh?
Yes. So it is good. I agree with his 4 out of 5. It is like the dialogue, everything in it works so well. This is just one of those personal ones where it's all like, I read this because I had to. But the review.
I liked it, but I hate it.
Read it because of the review. It was work.
All right, so Stay Awake, number 1 from Afterlight Comics. 4 out of 5. Definitely, we recommend picking it up. Moving on to Aliens vs. Avengers, number 3. Now, if you think that it's been a while since we did number 2, you are not wrong, okay? Those of us that have been watching on YouTube, you are not wrong. These things have been dropping like once every 2 months. Yeah. And
they're not long enough for a 2-month thing.
And let's be honest here. The price point, to me, does not warrant, it's not big enough to warrant this. You're basically paying for the name Alien. And so right there, that to me, honestly, I think we should have reviewed this one before Stay Awake. I think I accidentally mixed them up because I think the more I think about it, the more I give Aliens versus Avengers a 3 out of 5 rather than a 4.
We probably should have just started with it.
Yeah,
it probably because I honestly don't see it being worse than I don't see it being better than Godzilla.
You know what? Yeah,
we stuff a bit.
Hindsight is 20/20, but what I still enjoyed the comic. I still enjoyed whatever advancements in story that we got. In here, if you remember, if you don't remember, I don't blame you. If you remember, in issue number 2, they basically abandoned Earth, right? The city just took off, right? And now they are standing. oh my gosh, excuse me. Now they're trying to basically keep afloat. So they got to go to Araco on Mars, right? So in this universe, Krakoa never fell until the aliens came, or the xenomorphs, and they still had colonized Mars. So on here, there's a mutant nation on Mars, and for some reason, nobody's picking up. Wonder what that could be. Friggin' Mr. Sinister, right?
Yep.
That's all I'm going to say about that. Friggin' Mr. Sinister. There's always somebody like this in every movie, in every alien movie, and at no point does anybody just say, like, what is wrong with you? Pop right in the head.
He's straight up Michael Fassbender's them.
Exactly.
I forget David. David. Yeah.
He's straight up David's them, and even that's kind of a spoiler. So sorry about that.
I guess.
But
still,
you knew it was going to happen. You knew somebody was going to do that.
Gives that Nathaniel Essex twist on it. Though.
Oh yeah.
So not too much of a spoiler.
Yeah, and then you meet some of the remnants of Mars and whatever X team is still on there. Everybody is scared crapless, all kinds of stuff. So, but the artwork in here doesn't really do the story justice in certain points, I think. So yeah, like you said, I think this should have been the first one that we reviewed.
We probably dropped the ball on this
a
little bit.
But I still enjoyed it. I still like seeing the familiar tropes just with a little Marvel spin on it. You know what I mean? But yeah, it's you get a kind of a bleak ending, but at the same time you look up and it's like, oh my gosh, okay, the last act, the last issue, because it's a 4-issue series, might have some stuff going on, some cool stuff. So we'll see how that goes, because we haven't seen that story element since the very first issue for like the first 5 pages. So yeah, I do recommend picking up Aliens vs. Avengers #3. Just the alien enthusiasts might prefer it to most of the people that read it, that might read it. You know what I mean? Like, if you're an Avengers fan, you may not care much for it, but if you're an Aliens fan, you would probably care a lot more for it than your typical Avengers fan. But yeah, so 3 out of 5 for Avengers or Aliens versus Avengers #3. All right, and now we're moving on. Oh no, I slapped Godzilla.
The Ultimate Wolverine #2.
Ultimate Wolverine #2, aka Ultimate Winter Soldier. This one right here starts. Okay, so I had to actually look this up because in the beginning pages, I recognized the character because they try to make.
He looks very Hugo Strange.
No. So okay, Dr. Abraham Cornelius. Okay. He was the original head of Weapon X when Logan, the 616 Logan, got taken into Weapon X, or the Weapon Plus program. Yes. And he was overseeing his procedures, all that stuff. That is, so it opens up with the ultimate version of Dr. Cornelius and the Maker just, taking care of stuff.
Incest stuff.
Yeah.
But you got to admit, he did look very Hugo Strange. He did.
I don't know who came first, though. Like, I'm pretty sure. No, wait, no. I'm pretty sure Hugo Strange came first, though. No. But yeah. So in here, you get the first issue hit the gas, right? And this one kind of
claws.
Oh yeah, right. It went berserk mode on issue 1. This one kind of dials it back a little bit.
It really does.
So it's It's not to me. It's not as cool.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's interesting. It's more interesting in different areas. Like, we do get more characterization of the Rasputins and how they view their science division and stuff like that, and how it does showcase their ruthlessness, kind of thing. In that, they control. The Winter Soldier, aka Logan, aka Ultimate Wolverine, whatever you want to call him. But they also don't really trust him. And they kind of this is a bit of a spoiler, but Colossus goes down there and basically tries to physically break Ultimate Wolverine by showing him that he could just take him out at any point, right?
Yes.
And then it kind of shifts to where, okay, well, they want to see how he operates. They want to see how he works in the field, stuff like that. So then you get some more ruthlessness going on. But what should have been a really cool action sequence where, you know, someone's being hunted, someone is doing the hunting kind of thing, you didn't really get that.
Yeah.
Like the opportunity was there, but they didn't do it right.
Again, it was like a 3 panel thing that seemed like the whole issue is like supposed to be centered around, and it's just 2-3 panels. You get a nice little. You do get a nice little like art page basically of him like holding certain stuff. You know, that does look pretty cool. But yeah, like that was just it. It was like.
Overall, I'm not disappointed with the comic.
Yeah,
I think it could have been better, but I am not disappointed in it. You know what I mean? Like I think the characterization and the world building that it's doing is okay in lieu of okay, let's see him in action again, kind of thing. You know what I mean?
I guess, yeah.
So I'm okay with that. I gave it a 4 out of 5. I gave Ultimate Wolverine a 4 out of 5. Number 2.
Sticking with a positive 3 out of 5.
Yeah, all right. Well, I could see why though. I could see why.
3 out of 5.
Yeah.
Just
all right.
Yeah.
So we disagree on this one a little bit. I'm giving it a 4 out of 5. I definitely, we both definitely recommend it, but like I think I enjoyed it better than you did.
Yeah. It's a little. I'm a little bit more like critical on it just because it's got 2 of my favorite peeps. Like basically my top 2 favorite X-Men. It's got my boy Colossus, who for some reason just has to be a douche in all the past stories I've been reading. He is a douche in Wolverine's Revenge, and now he's a douche in the Ultimate Universe, and it's like, ugh.
They just like just completely crapped over your childhood.
It's like, come on, bro. And then yeah, it's just this issue seemed like the story is still good, but it wasn't like, oh, awesome, or like, all right, great. And then the art still nice, but even the bit action parts, like everything that it showed wasn't necessarily like anything great or amazing. It was just like, okay, it's good. So it gives me just like, all right, this is a nice positive 3 out of 5 because I'm still interested in it. It keeps me still interested, keeps my interest. But it didn't really
think we're
give
still
me anything else.
Yeah. I think it's still we're still going to review number 3.
Yeah,
I mean, I think we'll still stick with it.
Yes.
All right, moving on to One World Under Doom tie-in, Thunderbolts Doom Strike. I don't know why I was saying I was gonna say Doomstadt because you know that's his castle, but yeah. Anyway, One World Under Doom tie-in, Thunderbolts Doom Strike number 1. I'm sorry, I had to slow myself down, otherwise I would have flubbed it again. I liked it.
Yes.
First of all, the artwork is pretty good. It's not Alex Maleev, but it feels like they were trying to emulate Alex Maleev. And with this type of story, it works because these guys are trying to Bucky in one of the previous Thunderbolt storylines accidentally gave Doom the idea to do what he's done. So Bucky in this one, and this is in the solicitation, so it's not really a spoiler. Bucky is trying to fix that, right? So he basically turns into an insurgent in the Doom, in One World Under Doom. All right. So him and a select few of people that he's scrounging together, superpowered people, allies, whatever. He's trying to get them so that way they can fight back, and things don't go his way. All right.
They never do.
There's some media spins going on. There's a nuke that gets dropped. It's things are looking pretty bleak for Buck and his team, but it gets even stranger when you get the twist at the very end. I'm not going to tell you what it is, but it's a character reveal that you're like, wait, hang on, I got to go back to read page 1 and 2 again, and you're like, whoa, what the heck? And then it might even have you rereading One World Under Doom number 1, because for a second I was like, well, I thought that dude died. Because Citizen V, so like Citizen V and Helmut Zemo, they're supposed to be the same person. And then this one had, other things. I'm trying to keep it as vague as possible because I really want this to be a surprise. This one is like a really twisty end.
This series seems like it's going to be the One World Under Doom tie-in that's really getting you to
see what the
Doom
negative
is really doing.
Yeah,
because like in the main storyline, the One World Under Doom, the main issue, it really is kind of towing that line of like, I think we even touched on it last week, of like, hey, I could see myself getting swayed by Doom.
Yeah.
And like the stuff he's saying is like, okay, I see why the citizens aren't like mistrusting Dr. Doom after everything he's ever done. It's like you see like, oh, okay, yeah, I definitely for the most part probably, fall under his spell too. But I kept it like this.
I know.
But it's like,
I'm sorry. This goes back to a blooper that we have. There's a blooper. I'm compiling stuff for the end of the year. Okay.
Yeah, we think we might do blooper stuff pretty soon. But there's like that part where you're just like, hey, I could see myself falling under his spell. Like this part, the Thunderbolts, Thunderbolts Doom Strike. Seems like it's going to be the series that really reminds people, like, hey, this is still Doom we're talking about here. He's going to be doing some questionable stuff, and this is all how people are dealing with it.
Yeah, so to me, it kind of felt like that scene in Black Panther. Like, we were talking about this earlier, but we were talking about it for the Doom Academy one, but in here, I think it applies a little bit better. That one scene in Black Panther where Killmonger shoots his girlfriend, right? Up until then, you were with him, like you were kind of like, okay, this guy's kind of making some sense, and then he just shoots his girlfriend in the head, and you're like, okay, yeah, he's a villain now. But before that, he was talking some sense, but you kind of had that heel turn where you're like, dude, that like the writers couldn't justify why we wouldn't be rooting for this guy, so they had to come up with a complete 180 on it. And so that to me feels like what they were doing with Thunderbolts Doom Strike, but at the same time, it is Doom. It's Doom. You know what I mean? So I could see both, but I could see it being played out both ways.
Gonna do what he must.
Yes. All right. So I gave that one a 4 out of 5. Thunderbolts number 1.
Oh. Same as well here, yes.
Yeah.
This was very nice, very nice.
All right. So moving on, I actually didn't read this one. You did. Amazing Spider-Man number 68.
8 Deaths of Spider-Man.
Yes, the 8 Deaths of Spider-Man. I think that's part 8.
I think this is part 8, right? Yeah, yes. 68. Yeah, because it started on 60.
Yes.
So yeah, part 8 of it. And this one, it definitely picks up because our boy is no longer emo. They bring him, he gets back into being Spidey and his Spidiness. Pretty much in a way where if you have been reading this series, you kind of saw coming. Like, there's only one way that's going to get Spider-Man to come out of his little depression, which is seeing, like, hey, bro, look what's happening because you're not being Spider-Man. Like,
so it wasn't just waking up from Alicia's bed.
Yeah, not just that. But
darn.
Sometimes you kind of got to be like, really? Like, which makes you think they definitely kept it friendly neighborhood because... Well, you'd probably be seeing rainbows and the whole world would be singing if he really did stuff like that.
Yeah, that's true. That is true.
So definitely friendly neighborhoodness from the last issue.
Okay.
But yes, so stuff happens. Like, I want to say how, but I will touch on the fact that, like, yes, because the next solicitations basically touch on it too. Spider-Man does not have his little cheat outs, or I don't really know how to say it, but his little reads that they've been having him, that Doctor Strange gave him, is like, hey, at the beginning of the series, Doctor Strange is like, look, yes, you have to fight these people, you can't die like permanently, you can't get the perma sleep. So he's like, that's why I came out with.
Was it Strange? I thought it was Doom.
No, Strange.
Oh, Strange? Yeah, Strange gave him to him? Oh, okay.
Strange is the one that's been doing this for years,
Yeah.
And so Strange is like, my little caveat, my little cheat sheet, because Dr. Strange cheats, he's open about that. He cheats the rules, was, I'm still going to die, but I got these magic reeds that help bring me back to life. So technically, even though I died, I haven't lost. In this issue, Spider-Man, because of stuff that happens, straight up is like, I'm not going to use these. on myself at least. So he does not have those anymore. And the next, again, not much of a spoiler because the next solicitations are all over about that. They're like, oh, Spider-Man doesn't have his lives anymore. This is like one and done, basically. So this one definitely picks up. It kind of does starts touching on the whole fact that Spidey may be making some deals and becoming like the juggernaut Spidey, the Spider-Knot that has been being teased for a while.
Okay, yeah. So like number 70 has a cover on there that looks pretty sweet.
The cover, and
it's a cover A too. So I got to do the FOCs this week for it.
And it kind of too. There's also kind of something in this that made me think of Absolute Wonder Woman because of the monster they've been dealing that she was dealing in there. Something happens in here that is kind of like, oh hey, I guess this is what Wonder Woman was trying to keep from her people, like her people doing, because in this, Spidey basically has to be like, well, not Spidey. Spidey doesn't choose this. Someone else that's been helping, that's like starting to help him out. One of Sidorak's kids is like, look, we've basically lost here. Stuff is going down, and the world is quite literally tearing itself apart. So we have to go straight to the source, and they go to Sidorak's world. And I think I'm gonna stop myself.
Yeah.
Because I'm getting a little
excited.
Basically, the boy is back. Stuff happens. He does not have his. He's basically,
So this is that part in Spider-Man 2 where he jumps off. Wait, no, Spider-Man 3 where he jumps off the flagpole.
For the most part, yes, lands in front of the American flag, and it's waving in all its freedomness.
So that part on that movie always all three of those movies kind of confused me when they did that, because
it's beautiful.
Like it's never like Spidey's never been like the Superman, truth, justice, American way kind of thing. But Spider-Man was never like that. You know what I mean?
He was not like it, but that made him like it.
I mean, Sam Raimi turned him into that. I'm not mad about it, but at the time when I was watching it, I'm like, what?
That's something that's missing from Tom Holland. I don't feel America.
He fought Captain America in Germany.
He fought Captain America.
He fought against America.
Toby would have been all like, yo, friends, bros, freedom.
Okay, so I just found out about this, but they apparently filmed the scene. Mm-hmm. They didn't finish editing or anything, but they apparently filmed the scene for an after credits with Tobey Maguire popping up in his reality again, but seeing a different version of Tony Stark and stuff. Yeah,
I saw that. I didn't know if that was like something real or not.
I had to look it up, and yeah, apparently it was a real thing. Oh, cool. Like the image that they showed was photoshopped, but apparently they did film that scene, and they found out what was supposed to be in it. So yeah, it was real.
We're kind of getting our movies and
okay, hang on.
We could have talked about that in the movie episode.
Well, I mean, we still can.
I guess we can.
But anyway,
yeah.
So
I will give this a 4 out of 5 actually, because it's picking up. We got the next issue, 68 Deaths, which is like 68.5, and we got 69 and 70, and it really seems like it's picking up right now.
All right, so Amazing Spider-Man number 68, give it a 4 out of 5. Yes. Definitely pick it up, especially if you love the Spider-Man stories. Wait, I'm doing the wrong one. Wrong one. Okay, this way. Take. All right. Doom Academy number 1, another One World Under Doom tie-in. This one right here is basically a mixture of the Chamber of Secrets and Doom's youth. I don't know how else to portray it. Very Hogwartsy in
they make a joke about that.
Yeah, they really do. But as for the Doom's youth kind of thing, it's exactly how it sounds. Yeah. The problem is they don't really show a lot about that aspect, but you get the feel of it because they're all of their cloaks are Doom's green, and they have to have the hood on, all that stuff. And they're all, worried about being overheard. So they're developing all these new spells about, canceling out sound and noise and stuff. None of them feel safe. The main one is, I can't remember her name. She's been the one of the main characters for Strange Academy for quite a while. She's the She's the zombie. Man, I can't remember her name. Yeah, I can't remember her name.
We read a lot of comics.
Yeah, we've read a lot. But yeah, it is a soft view of the youth portion of the I guess the new world order under Doom, and it's entertaining, and it is sufficiently creepy because in here there's a mystery between the main character who may or may not have necromantic powers and an incident that occurred in that particular part, or like where her room is,
where her dorm
like
is.
decades before that.
Checking out her version of Moaning Martyr.
Yeah, yes. So like when we say it's basically
a bathroom, this one may be haunting her dorm.
Yeah, and the parallels between Chamber of Secrets and this are just too gigantic to not comment on. Okay?
Almost kind of like, bruh.
I was kind of weirded out but between all the spirits in the background and the foreground of the artwork, just making out and having sex.
There's a lot of
it was weird.
It's like, bro, this is a school.
Yeah, and like all these nature spirits and whatever are just getting it on right there in full view of the students. Yeah, like these are children. Yeah, dial it back. But I gave this one originally I gave it a 3 out of 5, but I think I'm going to bump it up to 4 out of 5.
4 out of 5?
Just because the artwork is great. It is a good introduction to what could be a huge cornerstone of the one world under Doom, because at the end of Blood Hunt, which what gave this like the end of Blood Hunt directly led to the one world under Doom. You read it.
Yeah.
He took all of the power that he needed from all of the students at Strange Academy and several other sorcerers and sorceresses and whatever magic person thing or artifact that he could find in order to stop the vampires at the end of Blood Hunt, right? How he became Sorcerer Supreme, all that stuff. Doom is basically working on Fey logic here. He told Strange, I'll give you back the Sorcerer Supreme power when I save the world. Strange said okay and forgot who he was dealing with. Bam. Now Doom is trying to save the world by taking it over. This may be how the main storyline gets to where they can take that power back.
Because they're doing an investigation here.
Oh yeah, they're all over the place. They're all over the place.
It is touched on. It is said in here how every student must have an extracurricular activity, an after-school activity.
Oh yeah, that was funny.
One is Dungeons and Dragons, but our main people do not want to play Dungeons and Dragons in Doom's literal underground dungeon.
Yes.
And the other was
so not a lot of people know this, but Victor Von Doom is a straight up geek.
Yeah.
Okay. Every now and then, whenever he teams up with Spider-Man, Spider-Man comes off with these pop culture references, and every now and then Doom's all like, "Yes, I remember that episode," or like Spider-Man will say, "Okay, Mr. Spock, warp factor 9," and Doom will correct him, "No, Sulu is the one that set the speed," and everybody's all like, "Wait, what? You knew that?" And yes, Doctor Doom is a closet geek. All right, and this one right here, the Dungeons and Dragons in the dungeon, it was a good little Easter egg. You know what I mean?
There was another one too, but I forget what it was. But the other one was the newspaper, which our people are in, which lends to what my buddy over here is touching on that. This one may be the because they are given secret, sort of the secret agent ones, the secret stuff that's going to be investigating, figure out all the ins and outs, and going to slowly leak all this information. And I like it. It's very nice, very good. You get little things at the end too, because it kind of there's little extra spice at the end that shows you a preview of the newspaper that they publish. And if you read that part, you get some extra little tidbits.
The one that just seems petty to me, and it is the anti-Reed establishment or something like that.
Anti-Reed establishment.
Yeah, the anti-Reed establishment, where they kind of... I don't know if it was Doom that actually put this one together. I think it might be somebody in Doom's cabinet saying, "Okay, we can't, we're going to do this." And I'm hoping that it's not Doom that did it, because that's just petty
like,
petty.
You do not read in their world. You de-read. So like, if I'm reading a book, no, you're not reading a book. You're de-reading.
Mm.
All the instruments in band or music class that require a read, you cannot play. So it's very like World War II, where everything became, where instead of wiener dogs, you had freedom dogs. Instead of like Vienna sausages, you had freedom sausages. So it's like,
I forgot about the freedom sausages.
So yeah, it's like it gives off that little bit.
So it's little tidbits here and there, like immerse you into the world, or just like straight up funny. But
yes,
like that one. But yeah, it's Doom's Academy #1. We gave it a 4 out of 5. We definitely recommend picking it up. It's got a pretty good little like section in the storyline, I'm hoping. And yeah, Doom Academy #1, 4 out of 5. Definitely recommend picking it up. Now we're moving on to runner up for comic of the week, Zatanna #1. Okay, Zatanna has not had her own comic. Well, okay, last year she had Last year she had
She had that Black Label comic.
Yeah, it was a mini-series. It was called Zatanna Bringing Down the House. From what I understand, it actually did very well, and that's why she got this current ongoing series. As far as I know, it's just straight up an ongoing series. So Zatanna #1 came out this past week. First up, 4 out of 5. All right. The artwork inside of it is great. Okay. Very clean, but chaotic when it should be chaotic. It's not just like throwing stuff around just to be, you know, like, ooh, I'm edgy. No, everything has a place and everything has a purpose in the artwork. You know what I mean? The writing, funny, kind of cool, and the spells that she weaves, you know, just like.
Which the hardest part about reading a Zatanna comic?
Reading it backwards, trying to figure out what she's saying.
Wanting to read it backwards to figure out what she's saying, and then like
that's what took me so long.
Your brain, because you're like, what is that?
That's what took me so long. I had to like I'm tired and I'm trying to read it backwards.
It's like, sure, you could just read it as she's saying. You could try to just read it as she's saying it, and
but there's the fun in that when reading a Zatanna comic.
Yeah, that extra thing is like, I want to know what she's actually saying.
Yeah.
So you read it backwards.
So in this one, Zatanna, it opens up with Zatanna running through an
opening show.
No, it's the rehearsal.
Oh yes, rehearsal.
Yeah, they're running through the rehearsal of a new show that she's putting on. If you haven't read a lot of DC lately, you'd know that in the pages of Absolute Power, she was actually one of the depowered ones. Well, it looks like she actually got her power back. So that's pretty cool. Because I don't think I've read anything recently that showed if she got her power back, and I don't know how that
either.
Yeah, I don't know what happened with the
Atom Project, because like the Atom Project stuff. It's the Atom Project.
The Atom Project,
okay. Yeah. Maybe they did it in the Atom Project, because I know the Atom Project is basically like all the atoms are going around giving people their stuff back.
Is that what's going on? Maybe we should read that one next.
Yeah, because like
maybe we should read that one next. Okay,
because like the one that I did read, it is like, okay, Adam and all them are going around and finding all these people and giving them back. Like, because there was one where I forgot who it was, but Plastic Man got his powers mixed up with somebody else. Maybe his like love interest or something, because I know it was a girl, but she had like straight up. That one was strange because but in like a good way, because it was like she had no idea how to work his powers. So you see, like, oh my gosh, what could happen if this guy? Like, and it's like, yeah, poor girl was like noodleizing everything.
Well, like you get a glimpse of what he's capable of in the deceased universe. Yeah, do you remember that one? Have you read that one? Yeah, that one was straight up freaky. But anyway, back to Zatanna. So she got her powers back off screen, basically, and. Now she's putting on a brand new show. She's taking it out on the road. She's starting off in this supposedly like historic venue for magicians and stuff. Yes. And you know, in true DC magician fashions, shenanigans happen. I'm guessing a new villain, because I don't remember anything about this. Pops up, and she has to, Zatanna has to follow the villain because she kidnapped her crew. Well, like it is a really cool
magical chases happen.
Yeah, the bulk of the comic is just a really cool magical chase through different scenes, setups, all that stuff, and it's showing Zatanna as the bamf that she is. You know what I mean? And so that's why I think this is a good runner-up to Comic of the Week.
Yes.
The writing is great. The artwork is amazing. It's phenomenal. I love it.
Magical feeling.
It really does. So I know I've talked about this with you about certain Moon Knight storylines recently, or artwork recently, where the artist basically makes Moon Knight shine on the page, even though there's not there's no actual foiling or anything. That's basically what happens in here. Like certain points, Zatanna just shines. The powers just shine, radiant. It's very good. I know I'm talking this up a lot, but I'm really I really dig this comic.
I enjoyed it at the start because of the fact that like they're in a theater, they're looking at a picture. I was all like, "We about to get the magical version of Somewhere in Time," which I love that movie. If you have not seen that Christopher Reeve movie, Somewhere in Time, is a very good one. Where he plays a playwright and he ends up traveling through time and all that?
You know what? I'm thinking about that one where he dies and he comes back.
Comes back?
Yeah. There's one where it's basically the original version of Down to Earth with Chris Rock. Yeah,
I don't think
Christopher Reeves was in the original version or the second version of it.
Okay.
And I think
look that up.
Down to Earth I know is a remake.
Yeah,
but I don't know if it's a second or third remake. And Christopher Reeve is either in the original or the remake.
I'm gonna have to look that up because yes, I got Somewhere in Time, which that's a good movie. It's a good movie. I should look it up. I got Somewhere in Time vibes, and then when the action starts going, even though they're jumping through pictures, and
dude, I got an Indiana Jones vibe.
See, I was thinking Page Master.
Oh my gosh,
Page Master! Yes, through stuff, you get that art and everything.
Man, it
very Page Master-esque.
I could see that. I could see that. Yes. All right,
I'm enjoying it.
Yeah,
4 out of 5.
So we're definitely going to be reviewing issue 2 whenever it pops up. Moving on to our comic of the week, and for those of us joining us on our podcast, we try like hell to do a comic of the week, so that way you know. All right, these guys are just 2 regular dumbasses, and they're recommending some stuff. And yes, we are 2 regular guys just conveying. You know what? Other regular guys might like these too. Other regular people might like these. We are in no way affiliated with anybody. All right, now enough of the lead up. Power Rangers Prime number 4. Okay. The more I think about it, the more I'm just gonna give this a 5 out of 5. Okay. And the reason being, first of all, the artwork is amazing. Again, the writing is a lot quicker in this one, but not because it's rushing. It's because the content is it's chaotic.
The scenario that they're in,
the
situation that is going down in this issue needs to be fast.
Yes, it does. In the action sequence in there is just friggin' great, especially for a Power Rangers comic. Anything, a Power Rangers anything. The excuse me, but yeah, in this one, Rita Repulsa. Space Witch, crazy Space Witch, possibly an evil Space Witch, because they actually never say whether or not she's evil in this one. All we know is that she does not like the Eltarians. And if you've been reading this from day one, you can see why. They're kind of douches. So Rita, and this is in the solicitations, okay? So this is not a spoiler. Rita basically says to Laura, the main ranger, right? You need power. I need help. I have power. So here, do you want to be a Power Ranger? And Laura is just there. She's like, I don't think so. I don't know. And then, VR troopers beating down the door. And she's like, all right, tick tock, lady. All right, do you want to be a Power Ranger or not? She says, fine, make me a Power Ranger. Bam. They're not Zordon's Power Rangers. They are Rita Repulsa's Power Rangers, okay? And that alone should kind of oh my gosh, I gotta read this. You know what I mean? And yes, Bulk is in there. We get more glimpses at more power, more interactions. And if you are a 90s kid that watched VR Troopers and then watched Super Sentai or Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, or I think it was Power Rangers in Space at the time, you want to see VR Troopers going up against Power Rangers. Well, this issue gives you that, okay? VR Troopers versus Power Rangers, and it's phenomenal. It is more phenomenal, okay? Haha. All right. But yeah.
That's been used for.
I don't care. Okay. I don't care. I don't care that the pun's been used. Okay. I have never used it. I
doubt it.
100% I've never used it. Mm-hmm.
Little 10-year-old Zach running around there.
No, I was never a Billy fan. I don't like blue.
You like Mega Man?
Yes. I like the Blue Bomber. I don't like
Sonic?
blue. Sonic?
Mm-hmm.
I prefer Shadow.
I do too. Shadow. But yes, I liked it. I like this issue. I'm not as big a Power Ranger fan as he is, but I do love the Power Rangers. Like, I think I stopped watching after. Well, I stopped watching Power Rangers series during Mystic Force. That one just got too kind of strange.
That's the one where they were samurais, right?
No, they were magic beings or whatever. Like, there was magic stuff involved in that.
I stopped after Time Force.
Time Force
was good.
I like it. Yes. But yes, like, I love Power Rangers. I like it. And what gave this?
Oh wait! Now that you said Mystic Force, he is. So there is a Mystic Force Power Ranger in here.
Okay.
All right. The blonde guy that helps them, Orion. He's the silver one.
Oh.
and like, you don't find, they never say his name until this issue, if I'm remembering right. So I'm reading it, I'm like, wait a minute, I know that name.
But yes, like, what gave us the idea that yes, this is definitely comic of the week, the Power Ranger Prime, was because I read the first issue just because, one, Power Rangers, and we got a spoiler variant cover of it, and I wanted to see what the spoiler variant was. So I bought it. Read it. So I read it, did like it, but at the same time I was just like, there's so many other stuff that we're going to be reading. I don't necessarily need to keep track with this one. But I read this one, issue number 4, and still, without having read the previous 2 in between, 1 and 4, it's got me. I like it. It's good. So that's what makes it especially since this does kind of seem like, okay, at the end of this, it's picking up.
Oh my gosh.
It has started.
So the very ending page, damn it, I'm not going to tell you what happens on the very last page, but oh my gosh, this is so cool.
Just saying, the ending of this definitely makes it be like, you know what? We have arrived. It's about to go down. This does seem like, hey, if you maybe weren't okay with, like, maybe weren't a big fan of picking it up, of looking into it, you pick this one up. Don't really need to. You won't really be confused on whatever's going on.
No, it's almost straight action.
It's almost straight action. A little bit of like info you can get from, like, you can start understanding from the info, the little bit of info that is given. It does seem like, hey, you missed 1, 2, and 3. You could still jump on at 4, and then just be like, let me go back and read if you want 3, 2, 1 as like prequels.
Yeah, pretty much. You can Tarantino it. So yeah, Power Rangers Prime, number 4, 5 out of 5. Yes. Comic of the week. And I think that about does it for our reviews. We already we technically reviewed 11 comics because we even though we didn't show it, we did talk about Weapon X-Men number 1, 2 out of 5. Like, it's. I'm not saying don't pick it up, but.
Yeah,
I'm not saying you have to run out and get it now. You know what I mean? Like,
especially since the fact that I don't know if this is what you were thinking, but to me, it seemed like we had it on the list. You put it on the list because it's a One World Under Doom tie-in.
Yeah.
And I just didn't even get the basic. Besides them, of course, being like, hey, we have a mission in Latveria. You don't even really get any hint at what the mission is or anything. It just didn't seem like a tie-in.
Yeah, it was one of those loose tie-ins. Yeah. One of those very loose tie-ins.
So that's why I was kind of like, I felt like we not necessarily wasted time, but just like felt like we could have.
It's okay, you said it. We wasted time. Yeah. To be honest, it reminded me of the Jackpot 3-part from Secret Invasion, which, it took place during the Secret Invasion storyline, but it didn't really interact with the main story. And that's what this feels like. The other ones felt like they could be interacting with the main story, or could have elements in the main story. So, like that, I don't know. I think we should try to read the One World Under Doom ones, but like decide whether or not we're going to do them on screen.
Maybe, yeah, could be.
But yeah, we reviewed quite a bit of stuff today. If you like the Rants and Raving to Mad Men, go and give us a like, follow, share us with your friends. For the people on the podcast, go ahead and follow that link to our YouTube, and you can see exactly what we're talking about. You can see our beautiful mugs, and you can go from there to decide whether or not to unfollow us. Thank you guys.
The campaign in trying to get me to be Dick Grayson. I'll wear lifts. I don't care.
Wait, what? This is the first I'm hearing about this campaign.
You know the ongoing
no.
That I think I could play him.
Yes, I know the joke, but I didn't know there was an actual campaign now. Like, saying, do I need to send in something somewhere?
I would like it to.
Okay,
because I would. I straight up. Like,
I wonder if I can send an email to Lunar. Hey, I know a guy that'll be perfect. Yeah. Can get this to Warner Brothers.
I'm just like I said. There's no dog on Robert Downey Jr. because that man's great. He's the man. He is Tony Stark. But if he can play Iron Man when he's 5'9" and he's supposed to be 6'1", I feel like I can do it. And I'm not just gonna be like, and I know again, he's got acting chops. He's got the chops. I'll straight Dave Bautista this, and I will take it seriously. I will get them acting classes. I will now then, because even though I feel like I know my boy's character enough to where I could squeak by. I need that extra. I will get that extra And I'll put the lifts in, just like Robert Downey Jr. puts the lifts in to be RDJ. And plus, he's 5 inches shorter than Tony's supposed to be. I'm 5 inches shorter than Dick Grayson's supposed to be. It adds up. The math is mathing in my head.
Well, Dick Grayson's supposed to be a gymnast, so they don't really have to be tall. You don't even have to wear the lifts. I think you'll be good.
5'10".
Yeah. Is he 5'10"?
Yeah, he's 5'10".
Oh man, I thought he was like 5'6" or something.
Don't be trying to tell a pimp his game.
Okay, before we start throwing hands over here.
I was watching Norbit. That's why. Love it.
All right, guys. Thanks for watching. If you like the Rants and Raving to Mad Men, give us a like, follow, show us with friends, and we will see you guys next time. Later.